All right. This is recording 787-787. Again, you can find me at christinastation918.com, or you can I've also created another domain, like I told you, which is linked to my website, christinastation918.com. So you can type in speakingtothecia.com and reach my website. You can reach my podcast, or you can find me on Podbean, Speaking to the CIA, or you can Google me, or you can look me up on Spotify, Scorpio71. So the name of my podcast is Speaking to the CIA, and this is recording number, listen next, 787. Okay, so this recording, okay, we're gonna go back in time. Okay, so I'm gonna do two different recordings, okay, but they're both related. Okay, so I want to show you, by proving to you, how Jean Jernigan Roberts, my dad's ex-girlfriend, has stalked me my entire life and has used me and my friends and my family using ICE on us all of our lives, controlling our addresses, controlling our homes, controlling our lives, and has used us to make money off of by abusing us. Hands-on, also hands-free, where you can't see, using AI. And planning to commit terrorism with that money, and committing terrorism with that money. And then you know all the other recordings. Okay, so you know how I frequently call Jean Roberts Mrs. Robinson? Okay, so again, for those of you guys who don't know, Mrs. Robinson comes from the movie The Graduate. And it's an older movie, and I think it's got Dustin Hoffman in it. And it's about a younger guy that falls for an older woman. Okay, so that's basically what Jean is. Jean is in her late 70s. And like I was warned and told, I was told I would never be successful at getting her turned in, because this has been her world for 60 years. This is her thing. She loves her little cosplay world where she acts like she is between the ages of 0 and 18, and has her fantasy world where she and her men all do their thing, which you know what that is, going through my podcast. So anyway, okay, so, and it doesn't mean like I'm telling you she's my dad's ex-girlfriend. It doesn't mean my dad is incriminated just because she stalked him and arranged a relationship to him, which she tried to do that too. She tried to frame him too, and I've told you that over and over and over again. No, she would be the psychopath. She would be the psycho. So anyway, okay. So remember when I told you, okay, we're going to put all kinds of different pieces together. So remember when I told you I found one of the Abajos underground in Arizona, and it's in northern Arizona. And I told you it was it's west of the Grand Canyon, and I think it's in I'm not going to pronounce this right, and I apologize. The Havasupai, I think it's like in that area, the Havasupai area. Okay, and remember I told you how much like it gets to me just thinking about Native Americans traveling on foot, traveling north, because I also know that there is, I'm from Arizona, which I know you guys know that. There's a Casa Grande, and I believe there is also a Casa Blanca town, unless it's Casa Grande, which is in southern Arizona. And so I know that there are Native Americans also underground that live underground. And I know that they travel by foot underground. And so like the whole thing kills me. Okay. You have to see all my podcasts and everything. So anyway, part of Jean's plot and scheme, is to try to blame everything on Native Americans, just like she tries to blame everything on everybody else. It's basically like everything that starts with M, like the last of the Mohicans, is what she's doing. Everything has to start with M. Okay? So if it starts with them, she's blaming it on military, militia, the mob, everybody. Okay? Native Americans fit under the last of the Mohicans. And I decoded the last of the Mohicans book. And I'm like, oh my God, I cannot believe this. So anyway, okay. So, and then Mohicans, and then she's using Mohawk and everything else. So, all right. So there is an Abajo there in northern Arizona. Okay. So now, I also told you, now keeping on the same thing, but switching subjects here, I told you she has stalked me and my friends all of my life. I mean, since the day I went to school, she has stalked me since I was born. But I'm saying in regards to my classmates, since I've ever been in school, every school year. Okay. So, and like I told you, my teachers, everything else. So, and I told you she likes to stalk bloodlines, and she loves people with certain names, okay? I call her the name collector, like the bone collector, but the name collector. Like if you have a name that she likes, especially if it's out of the Holy Bible, believe you me, she's probably been stalking you your entire life. So one of the names that she likes to stalk is people named Brian, which I know you guys already know that. And remember I told you I decoded where she referred to me in the 70s when I was little, and she referred to my friends as rye bread. Okay, and rye bread sits inside the name Brian. Okay, she also refers to me as white bread. She refers to me as white bread and rye bread. And then when I was decoding out all the rye stuff, R-Y-E, I was like, every time I decode out rye bread, it's all in equivalent of hate is what it is. Okay, so she's like attacking bloodlines of people, and she's attacking the children, and I'm one of them, but I'm the one that she wants to sacrifice, because I'm the Scorpio child that she planned for, and she ultimately wants to sacrifice me. And if you go and ask one of her people, and they go, oh my God, no, that's so not true. Oh my God, I didn't know what the hell she's talking about. Oh my God, as they do a little tap dance with their capizios on, then that means you look at them like they're full of fucking shit. This ain't little simple Simon in the average day world. Okay? That would mean those people are terrorists and perps. And they're lying to you. Okay? So this is really real. This is really, really happening. She has planned this for a very, very long time. Before I was even born in 1971. So, anyway, and if you don't believe that they're the terrorists and they're like the publicists of the terrorists, then you need to follow them all the way, and you're going to reach Jean Jernigan Roberts, Navy Gal 27. So, because I told you she's the leader of Charles Manson. So anyway, okay, so Casablanca, so that also goes to the Charles Manson murders. Okay, I told you she committed the Charles Manson murders, only she never went to jail. Okay, she is the true leader of Charles Manson. So you have Bianca, which goes to Blanca. Okay, and then you also have her planning to crash the White House in the future, which is her agenda right now. Crash the government, crash the White House, make it look like it's everybody else's fault. Make it look like it's the American Indian movement. Make it look like it's anybody and everybody. It is not. It is Jean Jernigan Roberts. Now, people are trying to interrupt me because they want me to get on a side tangent. No, Jean Jernigan Roberts is trying to crash the government, and she wants to do it her way, and she wants everybody to comply with her and do it her way, is what she wants. So if people were into crashing the government for whatever reason, there are people out there that want to crash a government. That's the truth of America. I mean, people do want to crash a government. If people do want to crash the government, why do they have to do it Jean Jernigan Roberts way? Especially looking at people that are not white. Okay, I don't consider myself white. My family is brown and black. Okay, I do not consider myself white. Although you look at me, I'm white. My last name is a black name. Okay, I love black people, and I love Latin people, and I love them so freaking much that I will do anything to make sure that my family is safe and that the Ku Klux Klan is stopped. And Jean Jernigan Roberts they keep saying she's towards the top of the Ku Klux Klan, but I was told she is the actual leader of the Ku Klux Klan. I will do anything to stop her. I'm not going to be stalked. My friends aren't going to be stalked. I'm not going to be told that I'm freaking owned and sold and any other fucking lie-ass crap or fucking KK ass comes up with. And I don't care who she hustles on the street. I do not care. I don't care. I'm going to turn her in over and over until she's arrested. I will not be stalked. So anyway, okay. So Brian is one of the names, okay? So there's just a whole litany of Bryans. There's a whole trail of them, okay? So she has stalked every single one of them. Okay, so now, Brian, when I lived in North Chicago, there was a kid that I dated or had a crush on. We liked each other. We might have actually went out. I don't even remember. People are trying to get me to ramble. His name was Bryant Johnson, okay? And it was, and I already decoded all her names because she stalked all of them. Excel Robertson, Bryant Johnson, Dale Wells, Joe, I don't know what Joe's last name is, Michael. She probably stalked little Rafael Soto too. But anyway, who was a friend of mine. And then that other little kid, she keeps making me say little kid because she keeps trying to pretend that you're her. And every time she does that through your voice, the little kid, she's telling on herself because these are my classmates. They're my age. So you can tell she is trying to steal my identity by trying to control my speech. So this kid that sat, Marcus was another guy. This kid that sat in front of me in one of my classes, I can't remember what his name was. He was freaking amazing to me. I freaking loved him to death. But anyway, I know I always knew where to get what I wanted was from him, which was graffiti and music. So he was like, I was like, I need some of this. So he was freaking amazing. I can't even remember what his name was. So okay. So anyway, so Bryant Johnson, this is what Jean did here in town, okay? And she tried to pull a stunt. This is what she tried to do. She tried to make it look like it's African Americans doing it, and it's not African Americans doing it. She tried to make it look like it's Latinos doing it. It is not Latinos doing it. It is Jean Roberts, Mrs. Robinson ass doing it. Okay, and you're going to see that. So what I'm going to do is show you what she did and also how she tried to frame the Marines. I'm going to show you what she did, and then I'm going to make this little company in the best way that I can, make this little company like well known, because they're a small time business, who deserves all the accolades in the world, and who in the hell does Navy Gal 27 think she is, taking advantage of small business like that? So the good side of this is my decoding and turning in Jean Roberts for committing terrorism and trafficking and trying to blame the American Indian movement, which means I get to learn a lot about the American Indian, which means what I've learned about Sheridan, the road Sheridan that's here in Tulsa, which Gene uses for Sharon Tate. People like to just use it as they keep Gene, first of all, killed Sharon Tate, so she may not use her name. They make Jean Jernigan Roberts the crosswalk. That's her space. Okay. She is leader of Charles Manson. Her trying to use somebody's name that she took is unacceptable. Whose life she took is unacceptable. Just like her trying to steal my identity, my name. Like, who does she think she is? So Sheridan has to deal with, the street name has to deal with the Native American history, which is really, really awesome and really cool. So the takeaway from all of this is I'm going to wrap it into Native America. So Gene gets turned in and everybody gets to learn more about Native America. So, okay. So anyway, so on the corner here, I still can't even believe she freaking did this. And I could point this out in a million places, but this one is a cute turnaround where I can still turn in Gene and not have to wait till later to turn in Gene, because it will anger and hurt people if I make a public podcast where I can say, hey, this is what Gene did. I'm turning in Gene. Now ignore this and then let's focus on this. Let's focus on the Native American Indian, and I will still turn in Gene. So this shows you how evil the white man can be. Okay. So keep the blessings of the Native American Indian, and Jean Jernigan Roberts goes to jail. So, okay. So on the corner of 71st and Sheridan in Tulsa, Oklahoma, there is a Reese's where I worked at, which I love those guys. You guys know Warren Buffett owns the Research Corporation, and he himself knows Jean Jernigan Roberts is guilty, and she stalked me all my life. Across the street from that is a Stanton Optical, and then on the other corner across the street is a car wash. Okay, so I'm looking at where the car wash is and further down. So there's a Seasons Hospice, and then you go further down and you see a hairstyling salon. And it says Brian and Company, and then it says Casa Blancas. And both of these are salons. And this is the company that I want to give a shout out to, that deserves all the accolades in the world. And at the same time can also turn in Jean Jernigan Roberts for trying to manipulate their business line. So, however she went about doing it, they can probably find the ins and outs of how she went and doing it, whether she used ice or whether she manipulated, they will probably find out. So, okay. So she's making a reference. So I'm going in Jean's world here, what Jean did, how she manipulated all this. Okay. How she built up these businesses. Okay, so it's not the businesses themselves. It's not the people that work there. It's what Jean did in manipulating, conning, and building up business. So, okay, so there's Brian. Okay, so you have Brian. Look, even that. His name is Brian with a T. So you have the TikTok there. So she's using... Do you notice how this looks, number one, like an exclamation point? Then notice how the Brian is vertical and it sits over a square sign, and that's where it says Casablancas. Okay, so she's referring to that as a World Trade Center tower. And remember I told you, Jean Jernigan Roberts only admits to crashing one plane into one tower. She crashed all 4 planes. She used ice to do it. Okay, and she wants to blame it on everybody else. She doesn't realize that I have a podcast that goes to 8 billion people where I have turned her in for doing the World Trade Center attack. And if she does at this point, I don't know why she bothers continuing to try to be me or to try to lie, because that's exactly what I'm turning her in for, is doing the World Trade Center attack. So she's referring to that as a tower. Now, if you guys remember her also stalking myself and Excel Robertson in 1986, okay? So Excel and I, we also talked, dated or whatever, and Excel's the guy that I dated. I'm sorry, I have people controlling my speech. Remember when I told you Excel jumped out the window of my bedroom in my dad's house at 1920 Lexington Avenue? Okay, in the middle of the night, and it was a snowstorm. Remember all of that? And all holy hell broke loose and and all that. And Jean desperately tried to blame the military for doing it. It was not the military that did that. It was Jean Robertson or Manson occult. She was trafficking us, trying to make money, and she committed terrorism with the money. And she literally tries to be me today, still Mrs. Robinsoning her ass on everybody my age and younger. So, okay, so if you notice, Brian, if you look at this as in floors, you have Brian and Company on the second floor, and then you have Casa Blanca on the first floor. So my bedroom was upstairs. So she's saying that my dad's house, she's referring to my dad's house as Casa Blanca's, is what she's doing. And she's basically saying Brian is like Excel jumping out the window. She's basically merging Brian and Excel. And his last name is Johnson, and Excel's last name is Robertson. Okay, so let me continue on here. So then, also she's using salon. She's saying so long is what she's saying, and she's also making a Jewish reference, which I don't know a lot about Jewish, but I know she commits crimes against Jewish people too. But you can tell she's spinning the word, making a Jewish reference. So behind this is a seasons. Look at the word seasons. And I'm not going to go any further because this is hospice, okay? And that tells you how evil Jean Roberts is, okay? But look at the word seasons. Okay, then you're going to go across here. And you're going to go down further, and then you see a teal rectangular sign. Okay, and you know what Jean does with the color teal. Now, let me tell you what Jean did, okay? My dad's house in Slidell at 177 Moonraker, she convinced him into painting the trim of his house, okay? And she convinced him into painting it a teal color. Now, for those of you guys who know what the teal color means, not Jean's lies to cover it up, but what that really means, you can see she is trying to frame the Marine Corps literally by painting the trim, even the framing. So she's trying to do that. And then you see hearing solutions and then the HS. Okay, then further down the way, you can definitely tell Jean's there because there's a Brahms. That's also the Brahms that she's vandalized too. So there are people that break in and vandalize that Brahms, and it's Jean Roberts people doing it. So across the street here, okay, you have a Jones, okay? So, and it's in yellow and blue. So what are the colors of the navy? Yellow and blue. So Jones, so what came out in 1986? You're going to see all the code behind this. Orange juice Jones walking in the rain. So she is making a reference to Orange Juice Jones here. So she's basically admitting to running all this trafficking and building up these businesses. So all these businesses really should belong to black and Latin people. It shouldn't, I mean, but it depends on who owns the businesses. Did she just use them? Did she just ice them? Like the executives, do they not know what's going on? Like, but I'm sure people will figure that out. But anyway, then you have the Burton's Liquor Mart across there. And then you have the Southern and some of these businesses have closed. Then you have the Southern Agriculture. Even that, look, the Rick, she's making a reference to, she traffics people with the food industry, okay? So like the Department of Agriculture. So even Rick, my mom's friend Rick, but that would be equivalent to Chick, okay? Which would be me when I was really little, when I went on his farm, playing with the chicks and milking the cow, okay? So that's what she's saying she's doing, is she's trafficking children, and she's making it look like it's the business. It's not the business is doing. This is how she built the businesses up. So then that would connect up here to Stanton Optical. She keeps referring to herself as Stanton Optical, and the Stanton Optical business, they know AI exists. I don't know about the employees in the store, but I mean the executives. They know that Gina's stolen AI, and she keeps trying to force herself, making herself the Stanton Optical store, and they keep throwing her back to the crosswalk because they like that stands for actual Sharon Tate, just like Tate boys. They throw Jean Roberts to the crosswalk. No, you're not going to have anything to do with Sharon Tate. Jean Roberts, you killed her. So, and then, 71st is my year of birth. So you can see that she's using that there. And then you can see even in Google Images, she makes sure she's got herself a little Jeep there, doing her little ad spot for herself. Okay, so then across, so the Research is in the Summit Place. Okay, that's the name of the shopping division. So you see how that is the top of a roof there? And then the Rain would be over here, would be the car wash. And then Rain and Water and all that has to do with Charles Manson again. So I just want to I want to point all that out here. So she's literally making references to me and my friends in high school, trafficking us using businesses who may or may not know that Jean has been doing this. Jean Jernigan Roberts. And then look, I could just keep going on and on and on and on and on and on. It makes people probably sick knowing this. Mom told you it's going to make you angry realizing what she's done. But if all you've got to do is go turn in the stolen valor expletive for committing terrorism and running trafficking rings and trying to hustle and snow over Tulsa, just turn her in. I turn her in. I've got cases open against her. And stop letting people run breaking and entering rackets, and stop letting people vandalize these businesses. Instead, give these businesses the respect they deserve and their patronage, and let them know, Tulsa's under siege by Jean Roberts and her Manson occult. And then get back to the true meaning of Sheridan, which is Native American. So another thing I want to tell you is this, which is leading into the Native American. This is what she did to Native Americans. So this is what I was told. I talked to 2 Native American tribes who live physically under the ground. Okay. I don't know where they're located. Okay. I think some are here in Oklahoma, but I don't know. I don't know where they're located. So one of them is Zuni, Z-U-N-I, and the other is Blackfoot. So you can also see what she did, abusing the Blackfoot tribe's name by referring to my friends. My friends were African American. Brian was African American. Excel was African American. Dale was African American. Joe was African American. Marcus was African American. She probably even did that. You know how she used Marshall Field? She probably even used Neiman Marcus too. So anyway, Excel jumping out the window And then if you would have gotten caught in the ice, then number one, that'd be like frostbite. But then just saying a black person jumping out of the window and then saying Blackfoot. That's what she's doing. She's abusing black people and Native Americans and myself, me and my friends and my family, people that I love, my treasured, precious everything of my life. She has set on sale and spread lies everywhere and continued to feast on my friends and family everywhere. And she's committing terrorism with the money, and she needs to be arrested. So, with that being said, again, I'll continue to turn her in, now pushing all of her crime aside. So that brings everybody to where we should focus is on Native Americans. So, I'm going to pick up the next recording. I'm going to continue talking about that. I'm going to talk more about Sheridan, and I'll talk more about Blackfoot. So that's the end of this recording. Before people listen to this recording, you might get aggravated. Don't get aggravated. Do get aggravated, but don't get aggravated. Don't attack me, the messenger. This is the only way I have to make a report, because she keeps hacking me, which means she intentionally wants people hurt so she can manipulate and con people, which should be another factor that should piss you off. She needs to be turned in. She needs to be arrested.